Hey guys, it's Aprilia and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be going over my favorite weapon in the entire game. I've been wanting to look into the history of this for a while because it's just such an iconic weapon in the game that we all wanted as kids, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at this weapon because its roots do go far back, way deeper than Gillinor. Today we're going to uncover the real history behind the whip as a weapon of war control and fear. Now, something I've learned from making this video: when I think about whips, I kind of only think about stuff like Indiana Jones, but something I've learned from making this video is that whips have actually been used by humans for thousands of years. And when we go back to ancient Rome, we find something called a flagrum, which was actually a short whip with leather thongs, and sometimes it was actually tipped with metal, and this was used for punishment and torture. Now, this thing was absolutely feared as a symbol of Roman discipline, and it was often actually used in gladiator arenas and military camps. Now, during the Middle Ages, whips did become associated with both penance and punishment. Scourge was used by monks in self-flagellation rituals, while rulers wielded it as a tool of corporal punishment. The whip was both a spiritual symbol of suffering and a weapon of control. I don't know about you guys, but this looks extremely painful as these monks whip themselves on the back. You have the character Silas from the movie Da Vinci Code, who whips himself on the back as well. As a Christian, I find it interesting that the whip in RuneScape actually ties back to Christianity as depicted in this picture of Jesus being whipped on the back. That's really painful to look at and imagine, and he certainly wasn't the only one that had this done to him. As many of you know, I was active duty Coast Guard, so this next part actually really was a surprise to me. I love naval history. I had never thought or heard of a whip being used in any sort of maritime situation. I found out though that it was actually very common, and by the 17th and 18th centuries, whips took on new forms, like this one called the Cat of Nine Tails. And this whip was a brutal multi-tailed whip, as you can see in these photos, and it was used by different navies to enforce discipline. As you can imagine, the sailors absolutely dreaded it, and accounts that I read actually described like people's backs being just shredded from the lashings. You can actually find in colonial contexts that whips symbolized oppression and slavery, which definitely cemented their dark reputation. So outside of being used for punishment, the whip also did evolve as a martial arts weapon. And here you can see that the Chinese chain whip actually combines striking speed with flexibility. However, we also have the bull whip with its supersonic crack, which we all know is just super intimidating. These influences echo in fantasy weapons like RuneScape's Abyssal Whip. It's fast, it's unpredictable, and it's devastating. So what I found is that across many cultures, the whip represents power, fear, and control. It is both a tool and a weapon for punishment and spectacle when you look at the gladiators. And when RuneScape introduced the Abyssal Whip, it definitely tapped into a millennia of history. An item at once familiar and terrifying. We all love killing abyssal demons. There's just something so nostalgic about it. I still enjoy going to the Slayer Tower. The Corrund abyssal demons just don't do it for me. And every now and then I go up there and kill a few just for the nostalgia. 85 Slayer was a dream for us all. The Abyssal Whip is definitely not just a digital item. It is a legacy of one of humanity's oldest and darkest weapons. Thank you guys so much for watching episode 4 of my real world history series on old school RuneScape items. Do not forget to subscribe and tell me in the comments if you could wield any historical weapon in RuneScape and run around with it, what would it be? This video is dedicated to my grandmother who passed away last night at my side. Rest in peace, Granny, I love you.